Yes.
Okay, let's do
Yes.
this. So, when you talk about why Black creatives need to start building their own table, the obvious reason to begin with is because nobody else is going to do it for you.
Mm.
Nobody's going to do it for you. Another reason is because all the important decisions are made at that table. And those decisions are often made before you even show up.
Mm.
Um, it creates an opportunity. Building your own table creates an opportunity for you to expand support for your ideas, for your projects, just like the All Black Everything Summit. Okay? So it creates an opportunity for you to expand the support that you need in order to do big things. It's so easy to do small things on your own, but when it comes time to do big things, nobody does that on their own. The next thing is that setting your own table gives you experience in how to pitch your ideas. Because a lot of times we have to pitch our ideas to other people to bring them on board. Okay.
Mm.
Another thing is that it gets you out of your comfort zone and into new circles when you are setting this table. It gives you a reason to expand your network. It gives you a reason to make new connections. And it reminds me of the prayer of Jabez. I don't know if anybody has that book, but what he says is, oh, that you would bless me indeed and enlarge my territory. So
Mm.
one of the things about setting that table and creating your table is it gives you an opportunity to expand your territory.
Mm.
And it teaches you that accomplishing big things requires the building of new relationships, alliances, and allegiances with other people.
Mm.
Okay. And it turns you into a leader because when you are setting your own table, people are expecting you to lead. They're expecting you to set the tone. They're expecting you to lay out the agenda. So before we talk about how you build the table, I want to talk about, first of all, what does it mean to have a seat at someone else's table?
Mm.
Because when you have an understanding of what it means to have a seat at somebody else's table, what it does is it gives you clues and it gives you a roadmap to building your own. Because what we do know is that every project, every endeavor, and every idea requires a table. Even if you're Steve Jobs and Steve Wozniak building Apple in a garage, every time you sit down to talk about it, you're sitting down together at that table to come up with ideas, to talk about who's the right team. The
Mm.
next thing is that every single seat at that table has a person sitting in it. And
Mm.
these people have certain qualities, they have certain attributes, they have certain skill sets, and most importantly, or not most importantly, but they also come to the table with relationships of their own that they can bring to bear on your project.
Hmm. I love this.
Okay, right? So what it means is that you have to think about the people that you're bringing to your table. You've got to think about what their strengths are. But first, you have to think about what do you need to build this project. And then you start looking for the people to come sit at the table to help you build it.
Mm.
So, what does having a seat at the table when you get a seat say about you? Number one, just like the seat you need to fill, it says that you have a proven track record of getting things done.
Hmm.
Nobody invites you to the table if your shit is raggedy.
That is
And I
true.
don't care. I don't care what you're doing. I don't care if you're doing makeup on set. I don't care if you're a graphic designer. if you don't have a proven track record of getting things done, nobody wants you sitting at their table because they can't trust you to do the part that is going to be assigned to you. The next thing is, getting a seat at the table means that you are in a position to assert yourself. And that word assert is so important because assert means that to claim, it means to insist on, it means to proclaim, it means to avow. So you being able to assert yourself means that when you are at that table, you have the ability to do it there, and you have the ability to do it out in the world so that you can accomplish whatever task it is that you've been given and the reason you were brought to that table. And so as I'm talking about these things, I want you to think about maybe a table that you're considering setting, or you're in the middle of setting for a project you have, an idea, a business. I don't care what it is. Who are you surrounding yourself with? And when I was doing this, I was thinking about my theory of building your sandbox. It's like a sandbox. You bring people in, you test them out, and if they work, then the team gets bigger. So now you're building this table. In order to assert yourself, you have to be able to do it with assurance. And assurance means that you have the ability to guarantee the end result of whatever it is that you are promising that you can do. Number two, asserting yourself with confidence means that you are sure. And so when you're sitting at that table and you speak up, you don't do it because you want to hear yourself talk. You want to do it because you're making a contribution. Asserting yourself with force means dynamic, that you are a dynamic person, that you're going forward and you can forcefully make your position, and then you can deliver. And lastly, with strength, because having strength is about being compelling. And what I said early on was that when you're sitting at somebody else's table, it's like sitting in the front row and waving your hand. And you're saying, give me some responsibility because I can handle it. If you give it to me, I promise that I'm going to deliver. So what then does having a seat at the table confirm about you that you need to be able to confirm about the people that you're bringing to build your own table?
Wow.
Right?
Yes.
It means that you have the power to affirm. That means you have the power to say yes. You know, whenever I'm doing something, I don't care what it is. If I'm calling the credit card company to ask them to reduce my interest rate, and the first person that I come in contact with says no, the next thing out of my mouth is, well, can you transfer me to somebody who can say yes?
I love that.
Can you transfer me to somebody who can say yes? And I just did it with my Discover card. And not only did they do some magic, but then they gave me $100 just because. And so having a seat at the table confirms that you have the power to do certain things. One of them is to say yes. Another one is to defend or represent your position. You know, you've got to be able to defend or represent why you're making certain decisions, why you're going in a certain direction. Because the truth is, think about it. If you got people sitting around a table and you're the leader, and one of the people that you brought on tells you that they are going to implement what you asked them to do in a way that is foreign to you, what do you want them to do? I want you to represent and defend how that is going to work because it's outside of my comfort zone. Okay? Yeah. The next thing is you have the power to make suggestions and be listened to. See, talking and nobody's listening to you doesn't matter. When you speak, you want people to listen. Why? Because you have a proven track record of getting things done. You have the power to nominate other people for opportunities when you have a seat at the table. You have the ability to influence the thoughts and actions of other people. And you can make educated guesses that others find valuable in their own decision-making processes. And lastly, you can, in the film business, they call it being able to green light a project. So if you're sitting at the table, can you green light something? Can you give the go-ahead? Can you get something financed? What is it that you can do? And it's so important to sit down and look at these words. These words affirm, to say yes, to defend and represent your position, to make suggestions and be listened to be able to nominate others and start to take stock of what you are actually able to do, because when you know what you're able to do, you feel more confident about raising your hand and saying and asking someone if you can sit at their table. Okay?
Yes.
I'll give you an example. When I was living in LA, I was a volunteer for a domestic violence intervention program. And for the first couple of years, I would go, whatever they would ask me to do. If they were going to do, people would bring clothes and they would wash and dry the clothes, and then they would put them up and they'd have like a big sale to sell clothes to raise money. So in proving that I could be counted on, whenever they asked me to do something and I committed to do it, I showed up whether I felt like it or not. So while in the beginning I started with cleaning and sorting and showing up at 5 or 6 o'clock in the morning, I was invited to sit at a table to help plan an event, right? And I was assigned the task of putting together the swag bags for a big gala. And when I tell you that I did not have a clue, you would think that because I've been in the beauty business all these years, I would know what to do. I didn't have a clue where to start. But here's what I did have. I had a track record of getting things done. And when you have a track record, it gives you confidence to actually be able to do things that you're not sure of, because you can go back in your memory and think about your successes. What I did have was relationships. I had relationships with beauty supply companies in LA, like Namies and Friends and all those companies. And I had relationships with cosmetic brands like Makeup Forever and MAC Cosmetics. But you know what I really had? I had a friend who knew how to do this that owed me a favor.
Okay.
And I called in that favor. And I brought that person to the table because I was still responsible for doing it. But I brought that person to the table with me, and she actually did all of the work, and I was able to take all of the credit. So one of the things, the result of that was that I became a permanent fixture in the inner circle of volunteers, which meant that whenever something important was going on and whenever that circle of volunteers was involved, I got to be part of it, which then started to expose me to things like the mayor of Los Angeles.
Wow.
Okay? Being invited to people's homes, which then exposed me to other people. And see, that's what we need when we're trying to build a table. Okay?
Wow. Yes. Let me really quickly, I just want to first, everyone, if you guys want to share this out, please feel free. Like, we need everyone to come in here and learn these lessons. But Crystal, you mentioned relationships, and like you said, relationships are extremely important to have.
Mhm.
So with the relation, a lot of people don't know where to start or how to start to build these relationships or build relationships of people that can actually say yes to something.
Right.
Yeah. So
Right.
if you go into that, that would be great.
Well, I'll tell you something. It's kind of like when people say, well, in order to be successful in this business, in the makeup, hair, and styling part of the business, you have to know somebody.
Mhm.
They say that all the time. But how many people didn't know somebody and became successful in this business? It is because to build relationships, you have to put yourself out there. And the thing that I always encourage people to do is, number one, there are all kinds of events that happen. I don't care whether it's a conference. There are all kinds of things that happen where the people that you want to meet and the people that you want to know, that those people are there. Sometimes you might have to spend $100 to buy a ticket, right?
Yeah.
So what are you willing to invest in yourself to put yourself in position to have access to people? This is number one. Look around at the year in 2020. Think about where you want to be. Then think about the people that you would like to meet, and then find out where those people are going to be. And if you got to pay to be in the room, pay to be in the room. It's probably the cheapest ticket that you will ever buy. Okay?
Wow.
You
Yes.
get in the room. Number two, since you already know who you want to meet, take the time to research that person. And I always say the simplest thing to do, research that person and come up with 3 interesting questions that you would like to ask them, because that is a way to engage people.
Mm.
Don't make it about you. Make it about them. You know, if you're going to an event, and I'll use an event like the makeup show, and somebody you want to meet, like Joy Fennell, is going to be speaking there. You cannot just walk up to that person and say, oh my God, I just really love your work. That is the end of that conversation.
Oh,
But
wow.
if you have done your research, if you've gone to Joy's website, if you have learned about the ABE Summit, surely you can come up with a question about the ABE Summit. Surely you can come up with a question about her work, something that's going to be different from all the rest of the people who walk up and say, oh, Joy, I just love your work. It's just so beautiful. So you don't have, that is a way of starting to build relationships, because first you have to have an audience with that person. The other thing is, when you know people who know other people, if you have proven yourself as the kind of person who handles your business, those people do not mind you asking them for introductions. They don't mind you asking them for recommendations. But if you are raggedy, if you are handling your business in a way that the person is concerned that you are going to embarrass them, they are not going to introduce you.
Mm. Yes. Wow.
That's it. They're not going to introduce you. So a lot of times we have resources, but unfortunately, when we start writing those names down on a piece of paper, we start thinking about all the areas where we didn't come through. Ooh, I can't call them. Right? Oh, I would like to, but ooh, that's right. I told her I was going to do this. And so you are actually taking yourself out of the game by not following through on your commitments, so that you can show people that you are worthy of sitting at the table, which then gives you entree to invite them to come to your table, to invest in your idea.
Mm. Hmm. Wow. I love that. I love that.
Yeah.
One of the things, okay, so one of the things that I always say is build your table, but also bring chairs with you, because a lot of people build their tables and then they don't reach back, or they almost act like they're okay with, I'm okay with me just going through the door, but nobody else can sit at that table. Then they become the gatekeepers, that they are so frustrated with, they then become the gatekeepers. So
Right.
how can we also now bring our chairs and invite other people to these tables?
You know, Joy, you know what you're talking about is you're talking about a deep-seated fear
Mm.
and sense of lack.
Ooh. Okay. Come with it. Yes.
That's it. It's a fear and a sense of lack
Mm-hmm.
that
Mm-hmm.
makes you not want to bring anyone with you. And it is, I'll tell you something else that it is, though. It is, a lot of times people have had bad experiences, and then they take that experience with them and start to project it onto other people,
Mm.
which is so unfair.
Mm-hmm.
Because a lot of times we've had bad experiences with people, but we have unclean hands.
Mm-hmm. Mm.
We have unclean hands in that when we shouldn't have chosen the person that we chose to help us in the first place. And then when they let us down, we want to take that experience and project it onto everyone else because we're not taking responsibility for the fact that maybe we didn't make so great a choice.
Wow. Wow. Just as simple as that. Yes.
It's just as simple as that. You know, you can, it's like hiring Mookie to build your website.
Mm. Mm.
And now, and Mookie is an African American, but Mookie was never qualified to build your website.
Mm.
You let somebody talk you into it, and now you don't want to bring another Black person along who's capable, who's qualified, who has a great reputation because of a bad experience you had with Mookie. But the truth is, Mookie is your fault.
Mm. But that definitely speaks into when people have this stereotype or this notion that Black businesses aren't up to par, and it's just like, just all businesses can have customer service issues. We're not stopping to go to those businesses, but
That's
then
right.
we put it in our head not to continue to patronize Black businesses.
But the thing is, Joy, and unfortunately, a lot of those narratives
Mhm.
were given to us as
Yes.
children,
Yes.
and now we're still carrying it around with us.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm,
And
mm-hmm.
no, that's really what it is. I mean, I can remember somebody in my family saying one time something that was just so heinous, but at the time, everybody said things like this. She said, I said, well, why don't you get a Black real estate agent? And she said, I'm not gonna let a spook sell my house.
Wait, what?
A
Wow.
Black person said this. But what I'm trying to say to you is that we have had these narratives. We have been raised on narratives that continue to plague us
Hmm.
and make us question whether or not we should bring somebody who looks like us with us.
Hmm.
And it is a false narrative. It is
Yes.
a false belief. There are plenty of people who look like us who are doing great, great, great work out there. And we have to trust the right people.
Mm.
See, that's it too. You have to trust the right people, and you have to be able to say no. Sometimes sometimes we bring the wrong people with us because we're afraid to say no, because we don't want to hurt anybody's feeling. But you see, that's not leadership.
Hmm. That is true.
It's not leadership.
Hmm.
And in leadership, you have to make tough decisions. You have to be comfortable with being uncomfortable.
Hmm.
But, we're out there. Aren't you putting together a directory?
Yeah, so I help partner in the directory of organizations by the name of Many Hats. they started the directory, and they reached out to me to help partner with it. So yes, and a couple of the team members that are working on All Black Everything Summit are from the directory. So it was a great resource.
Oh, that's wonderful. Well, that's something. I hope you've been sharing that every single day.
Yeah, well, I wouldn't say every day, but I'm trying to make sure people know about it. So guys, like, just so you know, we have a directory that you can put your name and everything else into.
Yes, Darius said, Black people are amazing too.
Yeah.
Not even two.
Yeah.
Not even two. Black people are amazing.
Oh, hand clap. Yes. Yes.
Right? Black people are amazing. And thank you, Daria, for that. But, it's so important to be prepared to engage. Like we were talking about having access to other people. And what I say is engage people. To engage people, you have to be prepared. That means you need to research the person. You need to always have 3 great questions you can ask them. You should also be prepared to compliment them on their accomplishments, because what gets people's attention better than a compliment about something they've done? That's and true. Then look for ways to leverage your own expertise to help others with their tables.
Wow, I love that. I love that. All right. Well, Crystal, I want to know. So you've been in the industry for a little while now. What has been essential to your longevity in this industry?
I would say that it is having a standard of excellence for myself.
Ooh, yes.
And it's so important to have a standard of excellence, so that when you're falling short of your own standard. See, if you don't have a standard, then you can just go whichever way the wind blows, and if it works out, it works out. But it's like having your own litmus test to manage your own performance, your own target, whether it is being on time, whether it's being prepared, what is your own standard of excellence? And if my grandmother gave me that standard when I was a little girl, because she insisted that everything was done right. She insisted that when you started a project, you finished it before you went on to something new. She insisted that if she taught me how to do it and I did it right once, that meant I knew how to do it right, and I needed to keep doing it at that level, but not to do it and go, oh, nobody's going to notice.
I love that. I love that. I wanted to also, excellence or getting to that point of excellence, I think is so needed. Excellence, and I just want to also say, like, excellence does not mean perfect. Like, you're not a perfect, I think a lot of people get disappointed they don't do something perfectly. So it's just like, as long as it's done and it's done to the best of your ability and you're really striving towards this level, I think that all you can do is just really just keep bringing it.
Exactly. As a matter of fact, Neil Fiore, who wrote The Now Habit, talks about one of the reasons that people procrastinate is because they're trying to achieve perfection. Right? And so you procrastinate because you don't think you can achieve this level of perfection. It's not about perfection. In fact, you're going to make mistakes. The question is, are you learning from the mistakes you made, and are you tweaking as you go? And it reminds me of Guy Kawasaki, who's an author and started his professional career working at Apple. And he talked about when Apple came out with that first, I think the Apple II computer or whatever it was, he said that computer was not perfect. he said, but you cannot not release a product because it's not perfect. You release it and then you keep working on it to make it better. Now, back then, remember, they would send you out new little floppy disks.
Yeah.
They send you an update.
Yeah, that's true.
And if you think about it for a second and you're doing something and you start deciding not to release it, not to go for it because it's not perfect, think of your iPhone. Think about how many updates you get on your iPhone.
Wow, yes. That is so true.
Isn't that true? Think about it's like when I do a presentation, I go back and look at it and say, how can I make this better? I don't think it's perfect. I don't think this is perfect right now. But if I was focused on it being perfect, I wouldn't be here. I've got to be focused on making my point, adding value. If I add value and I make my point, I can go back and tweak it to make it better next time. But if I never deliver it, then I'm depriving people of an opportunity to get some information that they can use to continue to work on themselves, to build their table, to build their career. So you have to get off of that perfection thing because it doesn't exist.
Well, this is a great segue into my next question. And just really quickly, guys, if you guys have questions, we're going to start questions in about 5 minutes. But I do want to ask this, Crystal, because we have so much, we see so many curated things. We look at social media all day long. We run it, we're seeing what somebody else is doing. We're tuning our ears to this. We're getting inundated with what people are doing constantly. What are some tips that you suggest for us to stop, to almost like have blinders on, to just worry about our own, what that little girl say, worry about yourself? Like how can we worry about ourselves?
Well, let me say this. Number one, everybody this weekend needs to watch The Social Dilemma on Netflix. Is that everything?
Oh.
You have to watch The Social Dilemma because we talk about this very thing. And let me start at the end and work this way. One of the last things we heard in The Social Dilemma was that all of these people, the guy who created the like button on Facebook, the vice presidents, CEOs, people who worked at Instagram, Facebook, all these different big companies that are feeding us through social media, said they do not allow their children to look to even be involved in social media until they're at least 16.
Yes.
Think about that for a second. They don't allow their children. The tips that they gave are the same tips I give over and over and over again. Number one, turn the notifications off on your phone. Turn the notifications off on Instagram. Turn the notifications off on Facebook, off on Twitter. Because as long as those notifications are on, they are managing you. They are managing you. You are not managing yourself. And here's another thing. Think about this. Most successful people can concentrate for 90 minutes uninterrupted. Can you?
Wow. Okay. Okay.
Can you focus on something that you're doing for 90 minutes uninterrupted? Most people cannot do it. We used to be able to do it. And this is something that I am working on. And I'm getting better and better and better because I only started working on it about 2 months ago. And I've only just gotten to 47 minutes.
Wow. So you do a timer?
Yes. So I can see.
Okay.
I put the timer on to see how long I focus. But I have taken off. Hi, Tanya. I see Tanya Russell. I've taken all the notifications off on my phone.
Wow.
When I show you my phone, now I know most of you would have, you see that little 16 on Skype?
Yes.
I never check Skype. I don't even know why that 16 is there. But you don't see any notifications on Instagram, on Facebook, on anything else.
Mm-hmm.
So once you turn that off, and that pop up and that sound, you stop hearing that sound, you become more and more and more focused. And the more focused you are, and the greater your ability to concentrate on something, the more successful you will be. Because sitting at your desk trying to cure cancer and going like this every 5 minutes, oh, wait a minute. Because, and this is what I'll never forget, Rennie said, that self-comparison is the thief of joy.
Oh, yes.
And people go on social media with this lie that they have told themselves about how they're looking for inspiration.
Mm-hmm.
But when they get off, they need a value, because they spend their time, a lot of times on social media, comparing themselves to other people instead of running their own race.
Wow.
The thing is, you get on social media, now you're focused on somebody else's race. Now you're scrolling through their pages, and you're even saying, well, how come I haven't done that? I started my career the same time they did. Why are they getting ahead and I'm not? Why are they doing better than me? Whoa.
Yeah. Yes.
And the thing is, you're not going to get to 90 minutes in a day or a week or a month. But if you start, the finishing will take care of itself. And I wish I had said that, but Neil Fiore said that too, and I just.
Well, we have plenty more quotes that we can write a whole book that you have said. So don't you worry. One more quote. Hey, it is what it is. So, Crystal, I want to know, who is at your table? Who is in your community? Who keeps you lifted?
Oh, what a great question. I have one of the people at my table is a woman by the name of Carla Denise. Carla Denise is the chief strategy officer for a healthcare system. She's one of the sisters at the top, right? I have another friend. Her name is, oh God, I can't remember her name. She actually introduced me to Carla Denise, and she lives in LA, and she is an investment banker. And she only deals with people, so she doesn't help me with my money, because she only deals with people who have like $5 million or more, right? So those are a couple of the people at my table. My old sales manager, Tom Alear, from Xerox, is at my table. He's definitely a go-to person for me. Hold on, let me open it.
Okay.
He's definitely a go-to person for me. And, the thing is, when you look at your own table, you need to find people who are smarter than you. If you're the smartest person in the room, you got to have people at your table that are smarter than you. And I would say that you need people at the table who can provide a dissenting voice.
Okay.
You don't need a bunch of people at the table who are yes people who agree with you, because that is the best way that I know to lose all sense of reality. When everybody around you is telling you, yeah, that's a great idea. That's a great idea. Where are the people who are questioning you so that it opens up a door for you to give more thought to what you're about to embark on, what you're about to do? You want people to say, why are you doing it that way? You want people to say, well, have you considered this? Have you spoken to this person? And you want people to be able to say, you know what, I have a friend who is in that field. Can I connect the two of you?
Wow. Yes, I love that. Okay, I think we have a question for the audience.
Okay.
Thanks for the movie recommendation. Do you recommend any books?
Oh,
Okay.
do I recommend any books? Have
Uh-oh.
you got your pen and paper?
Oh.
Let me tell you something. I am such a reader. For women, one of my can I grab it, Joy? Can I
Yes,
grab
yes, please.
my book so I can show you?
Definitely.
Okay, hold on. Let me grab a few books here, because these are the things that I have read. Oh, this is my guide right here. Okay. Oops. I got all these lights and stuff. Okay, so Neil Fiore,
Okay.
The Now Habit.
Okay. I gotta get that. I don't have that one.
Oh, this book is amazing.
Okay.
This book is amazing because it says the Fiore Productivity Program for overcoming procrastination and enjoying guilt-free play. See, because this is so important, because a lot of times, even when we're not being productive, when we really should just get up and go and play a round of golf, we don't do it, but we're not accomplishing anything in our offices. And we don't see the value. He shows you the value of guilt-free play, of creating in your schedule time for yourself, for you and your family, because it recharges you and makes it possible for you to go out there. So that's one. This every woman should read.
Ask for it. Wow. How women can use the power of negotiation to get what they really want. Okay.
Oh no, this book right here, you see my book. Why? Because in the Win Now mentorship program, I have challenges, and I am going to add an asking for it challenge, because women don't ask. We don't ask. Men ask when they're 50% ready. Women don't ask until they feel like they're 100% ready. And all along the way, they're missing opportunities. It's a statistic. We feel like we're not ready. Men are not ready all the time, but they still got their hand up. And we have to get our hands up.
Woo. That's truth right there. I believe that statistic. I really do.
Yeah, we have to get our hands up. Here's another one.
Wooden.
Oh my God.
Coach John Wooden. Okay.
Oh, John Wooden. And when you were talking about, when I was talking about standards, Coach John Wooden said something like this. I'm sure this is not the exact quote, but he said, if you don't give 100%, it's quite possible that nobody will know, but it still makes you a loser.
Oh my, wow. Yes.
Is that deep? If you're not giving 100%, nobody else may know.
Because, yeah, I get that. I totally understand that.
I'll tell you something. In 2015, I did the Business Development Summit, remember?
Yes.
And it was great. I mean, there were so many positive outcomes from that summit. But I did this breakfast 3 days in a row, and I had to get up and present at this breakfast. And one young lady who, like you, is a PYP grad from my packaging and portfolio class, after the third day, because you had to pay extra to come to that breakfast, after the third day, she came up to me and she said, you were not 100%. And I'm sure nobody else knew it, but I knew it.
Wow. Wow.
She said, I knew it. She said, that was not your best.
Wow. That's a wake-up call. Wow.
That was a wake-up call. And she was right. The rest of the people, some of them probably knew, but most of them that were meeting me for the first time, they were perfectly happy with what they got from me. But she knew. She's like, that wasn't your best.
Wow.
Because I know your best. I've seen it.
Wow. That's deep. That is deep.
Oh, I straightened up. I was like,
You say, yeah.
Yeah, because here's the thing. You could get defensive about that, or you can listen.
True.
Because as long as you're being defensive, then you can't work on what you can do differently to have a better outcome next time, because you're in your head and you're full of yourself. So you need people like, it was like you were talking about who's at your table. Because the other thing I was thinking about is I was thinking about some artists in the industry that are at my table who will call me out. Like you, Delina, Jennifer McDougall. These are people that I trust, that if they call me up and say you're wrong, or this, you shouldn't have done that, or I don't think you should, then I'm going to listen. And you have to have those voices around you.
That's so true. So true. I think we have some more questions that are rolling in. Crystal, what action steps do you think we as Black creative people need to get our power back in all facets of life? What action steps?
Oh my gosh. Well, hold on one second, because I actually made a list.
Uh-oh. She's bringing out the list, everyone.
Wait a minute. You know a sister has a list.
I know. We got the list, y'all. We got the list.
Well, I always have a list. I always have a what you need to do. Okay? So one of the things I wrote down was look inward. Look inward. Ask questions. Ask yourself questions. So this will bring it home for you.
Okay.
In my book, 30 Days at 100%, I say, I am 100% when.
Okay.
In 8 different areas of your life. You can pick the professional aspect of your life. If you put work, see, because you got to remember, you cannot separate your personal life from your business life. You can separate it, but the truth is, every day you wake up personally in your house. So what you're doing in your house determines how you're going to do at work. Okay? So if you think of 8 areas in your life and you say work, and you say promotion, and you say projects, and you ask yourself, what would make me 100% in these areas of my life? That actually creates a list for you that you need to work on. Okay, so I'm going to use a personal example. Inside, outside, personal, professional, family, finances, activities, and health. Those are 8 areas, right? So if I look on the outside, because anytime you're going live, on the outside is important. And I say, my 100% is I am 100% when my brows, lashes, cheeks, and lips are ready for prime time. My hair is done, I'm dressed, and I have my shoes on. This is a really important list for me. This is such an important thing. So if I say I am 100% when that is, then I have to ask myself, how? Am I 100%? Am I at 80%? Am I at 50%? Am I getting up in the morning and walking around with a pair of sweats on, not ready to be in front of the camera? What can I do to make myself 100% in that area and then start working on it?
I love that.
So I think the thing to do is to look at your life and ask yourself, in these areas that are most important for me to move forward in my business, in my career, and in my personal life, am I hitting the mark? Am I 100%? And if not, how am I going to change it?
I love that. I love that. I think we have room for one more question from Kenya. Crystal, for folks with product-based businesses, how should we go about getting products to major retailers and high-profile people?
How should we go about getting projects to major retailers and
Products.
high-profile people?
Yeah, products. They want
Okay.
to.
Okay, so let's talk about high-profile people first.
Okay.
Most high-profile people have publicists.
Mm-hmm.
And if you can get to the publicist, which you usually can, then you can get your product in front of those people.
Mm-hmm.
There's a great list. There's a great online resource called whorepresents.com. And that is a great way to go and find the people. Now, it's a subscriber-based thing, but you can just subscribe to it for a month.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
But start with the list. Who are the people I want to get to? Subscribe to it for a month, cancel it the day after so you have it for the month, and then go in and find the key contact people for the people that you're trying to get to. Create a beautiful cover letter and send it out with your product to give people an opportunity to be exposed to it. But also, and here's the thing, if you have an expectation for what is going to happen when you send that to somebody, you need to make it clear what it is that you want. And that goes back to asking. Don't feel so grateful that you need to send your product out to somebody because you want them to use it, you want to get it in front of people, and then not have an expectation of what you want them to do and make it known. It's like when I did the last hair, makeup, and fashion selling career guide, and I sent it out, I forgot my ask. And if you don't ask, people are just like, oh, gee, thanks. That's great. Thanks for sending that over. Glad you don't want me to do anything. So you don't have an expectation. Right. Now, and then in terms of getting your stuff to retail, I don't know what level you're talking about. Maybe you're talking about, I think of beauty supply stores. I think of the beauty supply store level, which is, you know, Alcone and Namies and Friends and all that. That's easy to do. You know, you send a letter, you call, you follow up with a phone call, you request a meeting. But then if you're talking about the Walmart level, the Target level, you're going to have to find out what their process is and have an understanding. A lot of times people want to go after those kinds of companies, but you get your meeting, you go in and you show them what you got, and they're all excited about it. And they say, this is great. We're going to need 250,000 units of that, but you don't have the capability to produce that many units because you also don't have the upfront money to get it done. So the first thing you want to do is start inquiring with those companies to find out what their process is for reviewing products. The other thing I would say is, if you don't have a lot of business training, go to SCORE, SCORE. There are all kinds of retired executives there who can help you, because some of those people might end up being the people at your table. Okay, so that's my suggestion. But let me say, can I go back to the other? Can I go back to the other question? Do you mind?
Yes. Okay. No, I don't mind.
Because when somebody asks, what would I do and what were the steps? Number one, get comfortable with being uncomfortable. Make new friends. That means introduce yourself to other people. Get out of your comfort zone. Okay. Attend events alone if necessary. It's like going to the gym. If you wait for your girlfriend to go to the gym with you, you might put on 50 pounds. Go to the gym by yourself. Go to the event by yourself. Next, toot your own horn. Toot your own horn. Share stories about projects that you have spearheaded, managed, or volunteered on. See, That's raising your hand. Look at me. Look at me. And
Yeah.
women especially have to get in that space. Men do not have the same challenges with saying, look at me, and talking about what they've done as women do. The next thing, share your interest
Share
and
them.
new
Yeah.
opportunities. When somebody is talking to you about something they're working on that sounds interesting to you, don't just go, oh yeah. Say, you know what, that sounds like an interesting project that I would like to get involved in. Can you tell me a little bit more about it? And I can share with you what some of my expertise, my skill set is, and maybe you could use me on your project. Because the thing is, sometimes you're waiting for somebody to ask you, but that person doesn't know what your expertise or your skill set is, so they don't even know they should be asking. So why shouldn't you volunteer? And ask for introductions. That was the next thing that we should be doing. Ask for introductions. Get your act together so you feel comfortable asking for introductions so that people can say yes to you.
I love that. Well, there you have it. There you have it. Miss Crystal Wright, thank you so much for coming on today. Like you were a perfect selection to end out the All Black Everything Summit. Oh my gosh, like I knew when we first started, we laid the foundation, and now we built the house, and now we just built the roof. So I am excited and happy to go live in this house because I know that everything has been brought forth for us to learn and to grow and to keep it going and to take back to our communities and to teach them as well. So I think like I want to say I appreciate you and thank you so much for being on today. Is there any
Joy.
last words you want to say?
I do have a last word, and I wrote it right here.
Okay.
Be the kind of people, be the kind of person that you want to attract.
And that right there is the word. That is perfect. Yes.
Be the kind of person that you want to attract. Be the people you want to be in business with.
Yes.
Yeah.
I love it. I love it. Well, thank you so much, Crystal. I love you. I really appreciate you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
Oh, you're so welcome. Thank you for having me. I never take it for granted when people invite me to be a part of their programs. I don't take it for granted that you wanted me to be part of this project. I thank you. I hope that people walk away from this with some takeaways. And yeah, that's it.
Well, I love you. Sending you big hug and kiss, okay?
Bye.
Bye.